probably saying it wrong, but today we're going to talk about Cyclades, which is a area control and auction game set in the world of Greek mythology. It was very recently released for iOS, so let's take a look at both the hard and iOS versions. Cyclades is a medium-weight Euro game, but it does have several different rules and complexities, and I won't be able to cover all of them here. In Cyclades, players will bid to win the favor of different gods available on each turn. Once they have won the favor of these gods, they will be able to perform certain actions and build certain buildings. They will use these actions to attempt to control different islands and gain other resources in order to achieve the game's winning condition, which is to build 2 metropolises. The first player to do this at the end of a cycle will be the winner. You can gain metropolises by building the 4 color buildings and trading them in for 1 metropolis. You can also conquer another metropolis from another player, or you can gain 4 philosophers. Players can also pay to enlist the help of mythical creatures. These creatures will sometimes appear on the board or have one-time effects. The Kraken, for example, is a figure that will remain on the board after it has been summoned. These figures are quite detailed and very nice to look at. There are several other elements to the game, such as battling both on the land and the sea, as well as set collection by collecting the different buildings or other cards that are available, such as the priests and the philosophers. All of these elements may seem somewhat daunting, but in fact the game does a great job of only giving you certain actions at certain times so you can easily manage what's going on. Cyclades really is a beautiful game. It features detailed miniatures with different models for each of the 5 colors. It also features high quality cardboard stock. It is a great game to play as well. It has a medium difficulty level that you can get new gamers to play and will add new levels of depth that other games don't offer. Cyclades on iOS retains the beauty of the board game version and allows players to play on the go. But let's take a look to see if it really captures the experience of the board game. Currently, there is only one play option in Cyclades, and that is Hot Seat or Pass and Play multiplayer, with up to only 2 players. This is an immediate disappointment, as many say that this game does not function well with 2 players, since so much bidding is required. You can change the player names and their colors, and then you can start your game. Again, the app is very beautiful. All the transitions look really nice. The game will randomly deal out player turns, and players will receive their payouts automatically. The animations do help you to see what is going on. Then players will have opportunities to bid on the different gods. This process is fairly simple. Players simply drop their marker onto the god they wish to bid for, and they are asked to input a number that they would like to bid. The number lines are still printed on the screen, but they aren't used. Instead, a large number is placed next to the tablet of the god. I do not know why it was still presented this way. I guess they just did straight port over, which seems a little bit lazy and unintuitive to me. But it's nice to have the big numbers to see what your opponent bid. Once players have placed all their bids, the game goes into the next mode, which is where players will play the different roles of the gods. This is a little confusing, as there is really no clear indicator of whose turn it is, except a small text next to their name down below. It would be nice for there to be more of some sort of indicator and more feedback about what you are doing. Placing things on the board is generally simple, but sometimes it's hard to highlight the square that you intend to use. In Cyclades, there are many things you can do when it's your turn with a certain god. However, in this game, it's kind of difficult to realize what your options you have. I wish, especially for new players, they would provide a list like Ghost Stories that tells you what you can do. For example, this turn you can still recruit another boat, or hire a mythical creature, or build a seaport. Things such as this would really help the game flow and would take advantage of the digital platform that it's on. There are no AI players in the game or a built-in tutorial, but there is a rulebook. that is different from the orientation of the rest of the app, as you can see here. This rulebook, players, some were confused that it only had one page, but if you tap in the correct spot or slide or something, it will go to the full rulebook, which will show you all the rules in the game. This layout is a little sometimes hard to work with, but all the rules are there and you can learn from this mode. There's also some settings that you can adjust, and as well as a rank board that reminds me a lot of Small World. And Cyclades really does remind me of Small World from 18 months ago in a lot of ways. I'm talking about back when it didn't have very many features because it was just exploring the platform. But that is not how things are now. The platform has been explored and built upon, and companies and developers need to deliver higher quality apps. Cyclades is definitely one of the better of the half apps that we've seen come out recently, but there's still a lot of room for improvement. I can't tell you every feature you should add for your app developers, but players at the very least need a way to learn your game. That means a tutorial, and if possible, an AI player that they can train against. Also, you need to think about what features you add for your apps. For example, with Cyclades, it doesn't make sense to just have pass and play, as players will rarely choose to play an app when they could play the board game that is known for its quality components. Yes, some players may play this while on the go with others, but I believe that most on-the-go situations do not warrant the time to play a medium-weight Euro game, but rather would favor something that's lighter and quicker and easier to put down and come back to, without having to remember the entire game state. And don't get me wrong, I'm not personally offended by Cyclades. It's not a game that I even knew much about before the app was released. I am just concerned that so much time has been spent into making this app look beautiful and work well, but yet no one stopped to pause to think if it actually attracted an audience or fulfilled the needs of that audience.